annotation. We are actually going to get each part of Module 4 done in this one assignment. And what we'll be working on is called annotation. Now, annotation refers to pretty much any text within a plan set, from room names to dimensions, notes, schedules, you name it. I'm going to give you guys a couple weeks to work on this assignment. And what I'd like to have happen, pretty much at any point, you guys can turn it in for feedback and then resubmit it, so that you are kind of continuing to build and learn. Because really, in the real world, I wish there was such a thing as a perfect plan set, but we're constantly redlining and revising and trying to do better. So take advantage of those 2 weeks. And there's spring break in the middle of those 2 weeks, so I don't expect you to be working on during spring break, so just know that that's coming back as well. Also, I try to do my best to grade everything first thing in the morning, but give me at least a day or two to get back to you when you do turn those in, because I do have other classes as well that are pretty big this semester, which is great. We love having all of you guys back here. One of our students had a great suggestion that they would actually like to see some examples of the assignments, and I totally agree. I think it would be great for you guys to see these. So what I've done is I've grabbed a few sets from last semester, and these are the rough drafts, and I kind of want to show you some kind of typical pitfalls so that you can avoid them, or at least try to avoid them when you turn in your rough drafts. In the rubric, please make sure to take a peek at it. This is what I'll be going over. So I'm going to be looking at your notes. Unique notes have been created to call out furniture or finishes throughout the plan. Notes are aligned, don't cross or intersect one another, or other plan objects. Okay, I'm not going to read all of these. You guys can hit pause right now and read through them if you want. And then another thing to, keep in mind, if you see something like notes are aligned and you don't know what that means, it will make more sense after you watch the lecture, okay? So I'm just going to quickly go over some rough drafts, and again, I'm going to point out the notes, room labels, the interior and exterior dimensioning, sorry, those got a little out of order, what duplicate views are, and then the custom title block. And I'll talk about the PDF sets again. So hopping into some examples, and remember these are rough drafts, so these are really good examples to learn from. So really quickly going through, there are 15 pages, so I can tell it's a combined set. And this is great because it starts with the I-101, and as I scroll through, I can see that it's a whole set. And it's in consecutive order, so this looks good. And remember, some information is missing from here. These students were from last semester, and I don't know if they would still appreciate me sharing their work, so that's why I'm keeping it anonymous. Let me zoom in a little bit more, and let's start with notes. So these notes right off the bat, like up here, these look great. They're all aligned and stacked nicely. They point to different things. One thing that gets a little bit tricky is it's a good rule of thumb not to overlap different items. So right here where there's crossing this window tag, I would suggest that you either move the window tag to the side or maybe move this arrow so that they're not impeding on top of one another. But overall, I think the notes look really good. Looking at room labels, so this room label, these look pretty good. Oops, sorry, I was trying to point to these. This master bedroom 100, kitchen 110, living room 111, these look good. Even closet looks good. Bedroom 102 looks good. But in the bathroom and the master bathroom, this is getting a little bit too crazy. So in these types of situations, I would suggest using a leader and just popping that room label right out to the side, or popping the interior elevation off to the side. You can see here that once you start adding annotation, your plans get a lot busier. So I wouldn't say messier, they just get busier, and really this is what they end up looking like in the field. Now make sure to do some other housekeeping, like for example this room tag. Now that we've added all these notes, this could definitely be scooched down a little bit more. so that it fits a little bit better on the sheet as well. Now, scrolling down, one of the things that we'll be talking about is duplicate views. So this is a duplicate of the main floor plan. This looks good, but I would still like to see the room labels on here. You'll see in the lecture that we turn off pretty much everything except for the room labels so our contractor can easily see the exterior and interior dimensions, but it is still nice to know what room they're in. So please try to leave those room labels on as well. And I think that's a good plan set. I think this is a really good example, just a couple things to clean up. Now, continuing on from here, here's another example. So you can see we're starting to move into custom title blocks. Now, when I zoom in here, we've got the room labels. These are a little bit easier to read, except Bath 101, you know, these small spaces are still kind of hard to get into. Another thing that I would point out is that I like that they did go through and do custom text on their notes, but it doesn't match their room labels. When I use Papyrus, I'm usually being sarcastic, maybe a little bit cringy. It's a weird joke. Go ahead and look it up on the internet, but if you can, try not to use Papyrus. I know things come back around, come back in style, but let's leave it off for now. The notes look good. They're spaced a little bit far apart over here. I think these three could probably come in a little bit closer, similar to these right here. Again, we're just trying to be kind of mindful of like the space that we have on our plan set. One thing I forgot to mention in the last set is when we do the duplicate views, we also do enlarged plans. So actually, let me hop over there real quick. You'll notice this fun new call out that we have, and this is for an enlarged plan. So if you do want to show details like a bathroom, you can. And one thing that's cool is in the PDF set, oh, you know, since I downloaded it, it lost some of its features, but typically you should be able to click on that and it takes you right to that sheet. So sorry, if you, again, I-400, drawing number 1. So let me find I-400, drawing number 1. Here's a bathroom enlarged plan. That's another thing that you guys will be doing as well during your annotation. And you can see that there's another call out here as well. This one still has its active features, so I can click on it right here. It takes me there. And then even here, I can click on the different views and it'll take me there. Just fun little things Revit does. And then right back to the floor plan. So taking a look at this, we started talking about this a little bit. Now looking at the dimensions, I think overall these look pretty good. One thing that I would look at is not having too many duplicate dimensions, you know, so right here, duplicate, duplicate. And the first time you do it, it's pretty tricky because there's a lot of walls that you're trying to catch with, you know, 1 or 2 dimension strings. But you will get better at it each time. And again, I will help you take a look at those and figure those out the best that you can. Now let's take a look at this set really quick. So I can tell it fits on the sheet just by the way it fits on the PDF. That looks good. It's a custom title block, and I can see that they used all of the I designations, and it's a whole set and everything is order. Everything is in order. I apologize. Here's another example that needed a little bit of help. So when we take a look at the sheet, again, I can tell it fits on the sheet if the space around it is symmetrical or if I don't see these 2 lines at all, similar to this one right here. It goes edge to edge. This is what happens when you take your plan set and try to squeeze it on a letter size. These are the proportions you come up with. So that's already kind of one thing to be concerned about that we need to fix. The other thing is it's only 2 pages, so it's not a complete set. So that's another area that we'd have to improve on. Zooming in, there's also lots going on here. It's really hard to read the master bath because there's lots of things kind of stacked on top of it. Also the bedroom over here. I mean, take the time to really place these so whoever is reading them, your contractor, your client, that they're actually able to see your work. Um, Also on this plan set, there's not a lot of furniture or detail. So there's not a lot to call out. There's only 2 tags. So not a lot to go off of here. Um, and then when we go down to the dimension string page, again, there's just a lot going on as well. So here we'd have to clean it up a little bit more so it's easier to actually see the dimensions. There hasn't been a lot of care taken to get things out of the way of others. This just gets really hard to read. So I hope this helps so you guys can see some good examples to learn from, as well as some things that you could probably avoid to help you do well on your first couple rounds. And again, go ahead and go through those lectures that I have posted, each one of these right here. And you have a couple weeks to get through those. And again, you can always turn them in early for some feedback. I will mark them up and send them right back to you, and you have the potential of earning full credit on those. If you have any other questions, please let me know. Thanks, everyone.